Today afternoon, we shall be hearing from Mr. Barrack Otieno, who is also my mentor. I have learned quite a lot from him through liaising with him and, learning from the different courses that he teaches, and then also his mentorship in also helping to frame the DNS forum. And I would say this: it's in life we all need people to mentor us, and I'm glad that you guys are on the call to receive and draw from the well of knowledge that we have today. But just a brief about Barrack Otieno. He is a seasoned specialist in internet infrastructure, governance and policy development with over 20 years of experience spanning across Africa. And as the general manager of the AFTLD, he leads efforts to empower national country code top-level domains, that is CCTLD managers, across the continent, championing DNS resilience and global best practices and inclusive digital transformation. Beyond governance and policy, he brings a deep operational experience, and allow me to now invite Mr. Barrack Otieno to take us through this session.
Thank you very much, Cliff, and good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Actually, we're in the same time zone, so I shouldn't be saying much. I think I would like to start by getting to know who is in the room. We are few. Maybe just a quick round of introduction or a tour of the room, as we like to call it, to know who is in the room, what do you do, insofar as the internet or internet-related business is concerned. What is your passion or your driving force? So maybe once we start that way, it will help me to tailor-make my presentation in a way that is beneficial to all of us. So maybe if we can, Cliff, if you can just moderate the introduction in the room so that we know who is in the room, what do they do, what are their passions, and then I'll pick up from there.
All right, thank you. I think just like they always say, ladies first, I'll start with Doreen, who also happens to be the only woman in the room. So Doreen, over to you.
Well, that's not fair. Good afternoon. I hope you are able to hear me.
Yes.
Okay. Again, good afternoon. This is Doreen Nanditun Abduvale, telecommunications engineer by training, currently exploring the field of cybersecurity really. And I work at ILAB Limited. I'm a member of Internet Society Uganda. And yeah, I'm glad to be here.
All right, great to have you, Doreen. Maybe one thing you didn't mention is that you are an ICANN fellow alternate. So.
Oh yes, I am an ICANN 82. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So next, I think we'll go to Bilton. Please unmute yourself and introduce yourself as well. As we wait for Bilton, in interest of time, we could go to Nicholas Betunje. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hi, everyone. Nicholas Betunje. I am a senior assistant technician. I work with Makerere University College of Computing and Information Science. Basically, I deal with end user support, and in that, it's where we have supporting users with internet and security details of their like kind of especially with students and staff, Makerere University College of Computing and the Directorate of IT Support Services. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicholas. Shari, could you please open your mic and introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Angole Sharif Abubakar, a computer science student at Bustema University, currently doing cybersecurity and data science with ALX Africa. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Sharif. Can we now have Samuel Mach introducing himself?
Yes, good afternoon, friends. I'm glad to be here this afternoon. My name is Diu Samuel Mach. I am a student at Makerere University, and I value digital technology a lot. And I was able to train with ICDCL Consult for Africa. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Already with the people that have introduced themselves, I can see quite a diversity in terms of the fields. So, this is a good resource for the hackathon. Mafabi Abdul, could you please open your mic and introduce yourself, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Abdrahim Zamil Mafavi, a graduate at IUIU in computer science, passionate about cybersecurity, the defensive security. Specifically, as a beginner in Security Operations Center Level 1. Currently, I'm at Hansu, Mobile and Intelligent Innovation in Baden, doing software development.
Thank you so much, Mafabi. And who else hasn't? We are left with Ainem Kama John and Joseph Arimanya. We could start with John. Could you please open your mic and introduce yourself? All right, as we wait for John, we actually have three more people. One is Bilton, and the other one is Kalyango. So I'll start with Joseph, go to Bilton, and end with Julius Kalyango.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ainem Kamajan Rocky, a student at Kavala University, offering a bachelor's degree in computer science, second year.
All right, thank you so much. Joseph, over to you.
All right, good afternoon. I don't know whether you can hear me out.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, I am Joseph Arimenya. I'm a systems administrator working with the Uganda Bureau of Statistics.
Over to you, Julia.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julius Kalyango, and I'm a cybersecurity consultant with Seriano Limited. And basically, what I'm interested in here today is just the big picture of the big picture on the DNS. When you talk of DNS, the region Uganda, not just for companies but just that high level understanding. Yes, thank you. Okay.
All right, thank you so much, and thanks so much, Julius. And Thank you so much, everyone, for those rich introductions. I'll now like to turn the mic over to Barrack Otieno.
All right. Thank you very much, Cliff. And well done for putting this together. I also want to commend each and every participant who has interest in this particular subject, and just say that you are also on the right track, or you are also on the right path. My name is Barrack Otieno. As has been indicated, I manage the secretariat of an organization known as Africa Top Level Domains Organization, which is the regional association for country code top level domains in Africa. And I'm going to talk about that briefly. Yeah, so to ensure that I am not moving around or from side to side, allow me to just do a presentation. How much time do I have, Cliff?
We had set for 1 hour, but we are flexible for you to be able to cover all the content that you had prepared for us.
Okay, I will try and actually stick. Let me try and stick to the hour so that I don't bore you. So that I don't bore you by PowerPoint, but nonetheless, I hope that the information that I will share is going to actually be valuable to you. I have about 20 slides, and then we will have Q&A. Yeah, so as I've indicated, my name is Barrack Otieno. I run the Secretariat for Africa Top Level Domains Organization as the General Manager. And our brief is to coordinate activities, the sharing of knowledge, the sharing of best practices, and capacity building initiatives for country code top level domain registries in Africa. We have had a program or a project since 2013 known as the African CCTLD and DNS project, which we have worked with a number of partners, including ICANN and the Internet Society. Basically, the African CCTLD and DNS project had 4 pillars. The first pillar was the Africa Domain Name System Forum, which was to establish a community of practice where enthusiasts, largely from the African continent, would come together, share their knowledge and expertise, and also work together in designing solutions that the African continent would actually consume insofar as the domain name system is concerned. Many of you might actually know that Africa is a net consumer of products and services on the internet. If you look at statistics globally, over 80% of those who consume or those who utilize the domain name system are actually found in the European region. And that's why when we had the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, when Europe sneezes or comes up with a law or a guideline, then Africa catches a cold. So GDPR affected Africa because many African countries export to the EU or have lots of EU clients. That's what happens when we are a net consumer of products and services. Africa accounts for about 2% of usage, of internet usage. Globally, we have about 365 million domain names across all top-level domains. When I talk about top-level domains, for example, we are talking about .ug, which is the country code for Uganda, .ke, which is the country code for Kenya, .za, which is the country code for South Africa. So we also have generic top-level domains like .ke, sorry, like .com, .net, and .club, for example. Most of you are very familiar with .com, for instance, which is used by companies globally, or .co. So you find that globally, if you take all top-level domains across all TLDs, countries and generics, you have about 360 million names. Of the 360 million names, 80% are found in Europe, as I have mentioned. Africa only accounts for 2%. So you may choose to look at it as an opportunity, or you may choose to look at it as a challenge or an area where we have failed. But I think for purposes of this meeting, it's good that we look at it as an opportunity, because there are still many people who are unconnected. There are still many people who are unserved. There are still many people who are underserved. The domain name system presents an employment opportunity to most of us who are on this call. It presents a business opportunity to most of us who are on this call. The domain name system is basically the phone book of the internet. Without the domain name system, you cannot be able to access your favorite content on the internet. You cannot be able to listen to your favorite music on the continent. So that's what we are talking about, opportunities galore. So the DNS forum was created purposely so that we can be able to have conversations such as this. What does the DNS mean for Uganda, for example? Kenya, I am seated at the Kenya Network Information Center, which hosts the Secretariat for Africa Top-Level Domains Organization. But KENIC is already running a program known as Hack a Million. Yeah, it has a hackathon where people will come up with an app that will enable Kenyans to register a .ke name. And the best app will actually win $1 million shillings. They're different cadres. So these are part of the initiatives. You may go to kenic.or.ke to see what's happening. Again, if you are a programmer or if you are interested, you can actually throw your hat in the ring. In any case, we are all East Africans. But the whole idea is to make sure that there's a robust system. Right now, I hardly work with cash in my wallet. Yeah, just like when I'm in Uganda, everywhere, most likely I will pay for goods and services using mobile money on my phone, which requires apps. I will probably receive money using mobile money. I will probably borrow money on my phone using mobile money. So that just goes to show how the domain name system has permeated various aspects of our lives. By the way, if you have a question, feel free to stop me. The t-shirt that I am wearing, coincidentally, I actually didn't plan to wear it, is for the Kenya DNS Forum. Now, the event has grown, hosted by the Kenya Network Information Center. It's known as the Kenya Internet Summit, but it started as a DNS forum, similar to what we're having. A bit of information about Africa Top-Level Domains Organization. So AFTLD acts as a focal point for all the African top-level domain managers to discuss matters of policy that affect country or top-level domains globally, and then to present the group's position as one voice. So it is the Association for Country Code Top-Level Domain Registries in Africa, like .ke and .ug. Members of AFTLD are categorized as ordinary members. And of course, we also assume that any CCTLD that is within the African continent is also a member of AFTLD. But we have ordinary members and associate members. So the countries whose flags you see listed on the screen are actually the ordinary members of AFTLD. We have about 34 full members of AFTLD, but we have organizations that are associate members. That is, organizations that do business in the domain name ecosystem and which are affected by the decisions of AFTLD. So we have Affiliates. Affiliates runs very major brands. It's a registry. It runs, you can check affiliates.com. It runs major brands. We have COCA, which is an organization that develops a software application known as a shared registry software that is used to manage country code top-level domains. We have entities like the .Africa Foundation, which is an offshoot of .Africa, our continental address. We have the South African Registry, or the ZA Central Registry. We have ZUCNIC, which does research and statistics on country code top-level domains. And we have DNS, which is a technical operator that manages the .ZA domain names and a host of other international names. It would be amiss to continue this conversation without appreciating the internet ecosystem. So the internet ecosystem is made up of a number of layers. We have the technical layer, which comprises the infrastructure layer. Under the infrastructure layer, we have network operators. Under network operators, we have telecommunication providers like MTN, and we have internet service providers. You know, your favorite ISP in Uganda. We have internet exchange point. Most of you, you have an IXP in Uganda led by, I think it's Kyle Spencer. We have hosting providers. These are basically data centers, and we have domain name registries. In the case of Uganda, we have .ug, which is the registry for Uganda, and we have GTLDs that like .com. Most of you might know that .org is actually run or operated by the Public Interest Registry, which is a fully owned subsidiary of ICANN, of the Internet Society, not ICANN, pardon me, the Internet Society. So Public Internet Interest Registry. So whenever you are doing ISOC projects, sometimes some of the grants that you receive comes from the sale of .orgs. And most of you know that .org is actually a favorite domain name for non-governmental or public interest organizations. We have country code regional organizations. We have, for example, Asia Pacific. We have Latin America and the Caribbean top-level domains organization. We have Africa top-level domains organization, or AFTLD, the platform with which I am talking to you. And we have the Council for European National Top-Level Domain Registries. On the other hand, we have the naming community. Under the naming community, we have the Country Code Name Supporting Organization. This is a constituency within the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers that brings together all the country code top-level domain registries. I hope by now you understand what a country code top-level domain registry is and its difference with a generic top-level domain registry. So a country code top-level domain registry comes into being because of a standard known as ISO 3166. ISO 3166 is a standard developed by the International Standards Organization, which is a UN body. Remember, the International Standards Organization designates a code to a country or a territory that is recognized by the United Nations. For countries that have had civil war and split and are yet to be recognized by the United Nations, you will find that what they will get is a geographical name or a generic top-level domain, but not a country code. The other important point is country codes are normally 2-letter. If you see anything more than 2 letters, it is a generic name or it is a geographical name. So that is the discussion that goes on in the Country Code Name Supporting Organization, or CCNSO. We also have the Generic Name Supporting Organization, or GNSO, which is responsible for the .com, .net, .org, .club. Yeah, the other names that are on the internet. We have the Governmental Advisory Committee. Remember, because we are talking about countries, the primary representative of a country is the government. So governments normally speak to issues related to domain names through the Governmental Advisory Committee. We have the At-Large Advisory Committee. We have the Root Server Advisory Committee. You all know that the internet is made up of a series of root servers that are distributed around the world. And we have the Address Supporting Organization, which works closely with regional internet registries like Afrinic. So that constitutes the naming community. The naming community is where the end users interact with the internet. We also have the numbering community, which is responsible for distribution of internet protocol addresses. And we have the likes of Afrinic, our regional internet registry. We have RIPE, which is responsible for Europe. We have Latin America and the Caribbean Network Information Center. We have Asia Pacific Network Information Center, and we have the America Region Network Information Center as well. Then, of course, at the top, we have standards and protocol making bodies. Without standards, I wouldn't be using my HP laptop to communicate with you who is using a Samsung phone, an iPhone, or an Oppo. So it is the standards that enable us to actually be able to integrate our activities. We have the World Wide Web Consortium, W3C. We have the International Telecommunications Union, technical committees. We have the Internet Engineering Task Force, of which most of you are encouraged to participate in. We have the Internet Research Task Force. We have the Internet Architecture Board, and we have the Institute for Electrical and Electronics Engineers. So most of you might know that Wi-Fi is actually a standard and not a technology. We also have other standards like Cat 6, Cat 5. All those are standards and not technological items. On the top, we have the Internet Governance Arena. Most of you are familiar with the Uganda Internet Governance Forum. We have the European Dialogue on Internet Governance. We have Net Mundial. We have the East African Internet Governance Forum. We have many multi-stakeholder convenings, such as the Uganda DNS Forum. We also have the Internet Society, which also hosts a number of critical organizations, such as the Internet Engineering Task Force, the Internet Architecture Board, the Internet Research Task Force, the Internet Research Task Force, and the Internet Society's chapters, like ISOC Uganda. I've had some of you are members. We have users and we have individuals such as you who are on this call because of your passion or interest. We have organizations, some of you are representing companies. We have businesses, we have governments, and we have content and service providers. We also have policy developing organizations like ICANN, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, the International Telecommunications Union. We also have multi-stakeholder institutions, and we have governments and parliaments. And lastly, we have universities and academic research institutions such as Makerere, which I have heard is well represented on the call. Do we have any question up to that point? I have said a lot. Do we have any questions? Can I assume we're on the same page?
I can see there's a hand from Bilton.
Okay, go ahead, Bilton. I can't see.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Good afternoon. I wasn't able to introduce myself, but I'm Bilton from Uganda, and because my background is in IT. Currently, I'm exploring nuclear science, but I do have very many questions for you. I don't know. Let me just ask my first question, and that is about the DNS. The DNS route, like you said, multiple route servers around the globe, you know. So now my understanding is DNS is basically relies on secure route zones, like you've said, multiple different managed by ICANN through the DNSSEC, the domain name system security extensions. Now, at the heart of this system is the case key, right? Which definitely acts like the master key of the internet. Now, this key, my research says, is protected by a global ceremony involving 14 trusted community representatives, right? Of course, we have the seven what? Hello? My network. Can anyone hear me?
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Sorry, all right. So I said we have, I'm talking about the cryptographic keys, right? Now,
we seem to be losing him. Hello?
hello?
Yes, go ahead kindly.
Yes, sorry. So I was talking about the seven trusted, I don't know what's on my network, trusted community representatives are talking about holding these physical keys. Now, that key model promote transparency and security, but I do definitely have questions about the representation, inclusivity, and the accountability, the global accountability, right? So now, given that only 14 individuals globally do control the DNS route, how does ICANN ensure transparent and as well prevent concentration of power in the root key management process? And also, do we have in East Africa people representing among the 14 people in the ceremony? Do we have a representation from East Africa or Uganda, to be specific?
That's a very good question. But it's worth noting that we have not had, let me start with the last question that you asked. We've not had someone representing Uganda or probably East Africa in the recent past. In my knowledge, I know that Alain Aina from West Africa, who is a very passionate community member, has been like a representative of West Africa. But again, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. Most of these are, it's about competence, which is what we are trying to build. So it's less of a democratic process as to a competence-based process. And I say this respectfully, knowing that many of the people that participate in the key signing ceremony, number one, are very active volunteers who are involved in the Internet Engineering Task Force, who are involved in organizations such as the Internet Society, the Internet Research Task Force, teaching or building the next pool of network engineers, mentoring others, and who are involved in just ensuring that the internet is secure, the internet is stable, and the internet is reliable. And this is what the DNS Forum is all about. So I would say that instead of asking who is there, we would need to encourage ourselves to be there in that process. It begins with participating in the DNS Forum and going further and participating in the Internet Engineering Task Force, Internet Research Task Force, and other bodies that are related or that are focused on developing the internet. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yes.
So
we have very limited or very little participation, and that's why we have the Uganda DNS Forum. That's why we have the Africa DNS Forum. That's why we have the Ghana DNS Forum, so that we can create a sufficient pool of people that can be able to participate in such processes and by extension represent the continent, represent the region, represent their countries in this process.
Okay. And one question now, this is for Kenya, where you're sitting. Is it Kenya? Is it the government of Kenya responsible for the .ke TLD? I mean, this TLD, or it's privatized?
KENIC is a public-private partnership.
Okay.
So government has a representation, academia has a representation, industry has a representation. Every facet of It is
No,
represented.
what do you mean? The organization, just like when you look at registrars, let me give an example of Mac Monitor,
Yes.
a domain registrar, registering a wide range of different TLDs. Now,
Yes.
when you look at .co.ke, which is a country code domain for Kenya specifically. Now, is it managed by government, just like you see back in the States where we have .edu being managed by the state itself, not a private sector or outsourcing a private company to run such CCTLDs for the users to purchase from, or it's a private individual or private company that sells CTLDs for Kenya?
No, it is, don't mix the two. We have a registry and we have registrars. Is that clear?
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the registry.
The registry is a multi-stakeholder organization. Are we clear up to that point?
Yep.
So when I say multi-stakeholder, I mean that it is a company, of course, a special type of company whose stakeholders are government, private sector representatives. Are we together up to that point?
Okay.
Academia and registrars. Are we clear up to that point?
Okay.
Yes. So it's a special purpose vehicle. It's not owned by government. It's not owned by private sector. It's not owned by registrars. But it's owned by all of them, not one of the groupings.
Okay. So in the event, because if I look back in Uganda, unless I'm not really informed, but I do run a web hosting company as well. But when we buy domains locally in Uganda,
Yes.
they're actually buying from a private company responsible for selling these such domains for .ug, right?
Yes.
We even had cases that if I look back 2021, Parliament was trying to summon the government, asking them why should it be a private company responsible for .ug domains, selling .ug domains, because you find, because if we say it's a private sector running such things, they become very expensive, because I can assure you, very few people in Uganda can afford to buy a CCTLD of their own in their own country. See, how I buy a TLD, a .com cheaper than a .ug right here, and yet I'm buying it in my own country. So why wouldn't FTLD agree that prices should actually be harmonized or subsidized? I don't know which one to use, but what I'm saying is, why shouldn't it be government, since it's being represented? Why shouldn't these communication communities in countries now like UCC or NITA be the one responsible for selling such domains to make it cheaper, since it's government, right, than being private? That makes it, the fact that it's private, it's more expensive, right? So now, why is it like that for our case? Maybe Mr. Cliff should as well highlight on that, because it really puzzles me when a private company is selling something to locals at a higher rate. Because if you buy, let me say, if I buy .ug from another country, it's even more expensive. I don't have a .ug domain I bought in the US. I didn't learn about the local company in Uganda that's authorized to sell this .ug CCTLDs, and it was actually 3 times more expensive than buying it here. And even if I said I'm buying it here, very few locals are able to definitely afford that. So now, what do we have to do about that?
All right. Maybe let me make a quick comment, and then we will come back to your conversation so that Cliff can intervene even as he moderates the Q&A session, so that we are within our time. I can see time is also going. But a quick answer to the question that you have asked is, number one, insofar as country code top-level domains or country code top-level domain registries are concerned, countries are sovereign. You understand the concept of sovereignty?
Yep.
So, sovereignty means that the people of Uganda will decide how their country code top-level domain registry is run. When I say the people of Uganda, it means you gather. You know, like now you are in an election season, isn't it?
Yes.
You have to align with a certain political party, isn't it?
Yeah.
There are many political parties. There are those that are strong, there are those that are weak, but you have a right to identify with whichever political party based on your persuasion. And during the elections, you will cast your vote. But we all agree that the party that wins or majority that wins is the one that forms government, isn't it?
Yep.
So in the same way, it's a process of talking to each other. Some may take a long time, some may take a short time, but it's a process that you will need to go through. And that is why I believe that this conversation we are having is part and parcel of such a process. On the other hand, I would like to mention to you that whoever manages the .ug registry does it for and on behalf of the people of Uganda, but also for the global internet community. That's because if I wanted to access a website that is on .ug, I don't care the politics that are going on in Uganda. What I am looking for is a service. You're probably a developer. I want to reach you through your company and I want to get a .ug that is working. So from a global perspective, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers pays attention to who is running .ug. They'll not just give it to you because you are government. They'll not just give it to you because you are politically correct, because such has been done before and resulted in many communities going offline. So you have to demonstrate that you have the competence to be able to operate this unique resource in a secure, stable, and reliable manner. Are we together up to that point?
Yep.
Yeah, so the tensions will always be there, but at the end of the day, whoever convinces the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers or the global bodies, including the government of Uganda, that they are able to run this resource in a right manner are the ones who will continue operating it. So, just like Kenya, in the past, in the 90s, in 1995, .ke was actually run by a Kenyan known as Dr. Shemo Chodho through an NGO known as the Africa Regional Computing Center. All the equipment were in one of the bedrooms in his house. But then the Kenyan internet community came together and said, this is not the way we want to run our CCTLD. We will create a special purpose vehicle and be able to operate it. But each country runs it the way they deem fit or the way they feel fit. So that's an issue of sovereignty, which you have to discuss and agree among yourselves as Ugandans. Once you convince the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers that you have a competent vehicle that is able to manage this resource well, then it can allow the transfer to the new entity through a process known as delegation. Otherwise, it will not allow it. It would rather remain with the company that is currently running it for as long as it is doing it well, for as long as it is doing it for and on behalf of the people of Uganda and for the global internet community. So there is no politics. It's about competence. So you have to make sure that even as you deal with the people issues or the political issues, competence is at the core. Are we at that? Are we together up to that point?
Yep.
Yeah. You may want to note again that the internet has evolved. Remember, the internet used to be a research project under the Advanced Research Projects Agency, a department of the US military. From ARPANET, it moved to academia. That's where we got the likes of Vint Cerf, Dr. Vint Cerf, Bob Kahn, who are known as the founders of the internet. Yeah. VinSerf is credited with the transmission control protocol, which determines how networks exchange data. Yeah. We also have Steve Crocker, who came up with the request for comments, which is the system for recording how various parts of the internet talk to each other. Yeah. It evolved, and we started seeing commercialization of the internet in the 80s through John Postel, who led the evolution of the domain name system. Initially, Postel used to keep a book or a record of all these domain names we are talking about. Nowadays, they are automated. We have shared registry systems that are doing this work, but somebody was doing this manually. Then we had the invention of the World Wide Web in 1992. Sir Tim Berners-Lee, yeah, at the CERN laboratory in Switzerland. That's when we started having hypertext control protocol, hypertext markup language, yeah, accessing content on the internet, servers, the domain name system, and the likes. Then we had social media, yeah, the evolution of social media, and now, I don't even know what some of you are using. We are losing count. The internet is evolving every day. On the other side, or on the other hand, we have governance of the internet, which is the question that you are raising. Why is it a private sector organization that is managing .ug and not the government? Some people are uncomfortable with the government managing .ug and they would rather a private sector organization. Some people are uncomfortable with a private sector organization and a government, and they want an NGO. Some people don't like NGOs. They don't trust NGOs. So what do? Create an amalgamation of all these organizations. But is it easy to do so? Your guess is as good as mine. It's a process you have to work on. That's what the Uganda Internet Governance normally talks about. So I would say that it's a journey. Don't blame yourself. You don't need to point fingers. We all need to work towards what we want to see in our ecosystem. And that's why you are getting equipped with the knowledge that you're getting equipped with. So allow me to conclude quickly, and then I will give Cliff the floor. Some of the activities of value to country code top-level domain organizations that the association does is measurements. Yeah, I started by giving you statistics. There are over 360 million domain names across all top-level domains globally. These are collected by research organizations, some of which I shared with you. The Internet Society has Pulse. If you go there, you'll get statistics. Afrinic has Pulse. Investors need data and market intelligence. Yeah. Most of you are investors. You're running hosting companies. You're running website building companies, and you need information about the market. Capacity building is key. What we are doing right now is capacity building. Stakeholder engagement is key. Some of you are from Makerere University. Some of you are from private sector. Some of you are from ISOC. You've come together to support the establishment of the Uganda DNS Forum so that you are able to move the DNS ecosystem in Uganda forward. Yeah, those are just examples. I will skip some of this information because it pertains to AFTLD, but basically there is need for competence in understanding how registries are managed. Uganda has a .ug registry that is run very well. And I believe that the organizers of this forum are going to also tap into the local expertise. So registry management is an organizational function devoted to the management of information in the entity that manages the CCTLD in the case of .ug, which involves identifying, classifying, storing, securing, retrieving, tracking, and destroying or permanently preserving records. So if I chose today to register Barrack Otieno.ug, yeah, first of all, we will need to check whether there is Barrack Otieno.ug, which there's a possibility that there is. If there is, then I have to change it to maybe Otieno Barrack UG so that there is no clash. If there isn't, we have to create or to register. I may choose not to renew it. It may need to be disposed so that it is available for someone else on the internet. This is what the registry normally does. Of course, registries have a management life cycle, which is creating, which is modifying, which is maintaining, which is disposing, and which is also archiving. Of course, registries are managed by policies. We have requests for comments 1591, which speaks to how a registry or a CCTLD should be governed. We have requests for comments 2870, which speaks to business continuity planning. You all agree with me that assuming .ug goes down, if it is going to affect a significant portion of the Ugandan ecosystem insofar as digitalization is concerned. So it's in the interest of everyone and the global community that the domain name system is actually protected. Government has its role to play insofar as policy is concerned. The private sector has a role to play. Of course, private sector is normally very good in terms of decision-making and leadership, but you have to choose how you want, whether you want your registry to be run by your government, whether you want to outsource it to a private company, whether you want it to be run by a private entity or a special purpose vehicle, as I mentioned. Again, registries can use various models, such as a 2R model. 2R means registry and registrar. So the registry also sells domain names to you. The 2R model has its challenges. It's good at controlling, but it's not good at growth. We have the 3R model, where you have the registry, like the .ug registry. We have registrar, like the entities that some of you are running, and we have registrants, who are internet users. So as an internet user, if you feel you're not getting a good service, you can report your registrar to the registry. So normally it creates a market, or you can have one that has both. Either way, you have to understand which system is efficient. Globally, many people prefer the registry, registrar, registrant for easier governance and for easier separation of functions. So I won't go into the rest of the technical issues, but also to mention that dispute resolution is a critical component of registry management. You can find that I have registered Cliff.ug, yet my name is not Cliff. If I registered, or let's say, for instance, some of you choose to register Coca-Cola.ug. Coca-Cola is a brand or is a trademark. You may register it so that Coca-Cola can come and buy from you. But you will find that because many countries have established ways of dealing with copyright, the local court will take the domain away from you because Coca-Cola has registered trademarks, Coca-Cola has registered patents. Remember, domain name registry is about first come, first served. But even with that, but despite the fact that we have the first come and first served diction, we still have trademarks, we still have copyrights that are respected, and we have dispute resolution mechanisms that try to arbitrate whenever you find individuals who are fighting over a domain name, for example. Again, there's a business side of growing a registry, which determines how the registry sells its domains, the pricing. You find that in many countries, registrars have their own associations, yeah, so that they can be able to negotiate for better prices from registries, which answers the question that the previous speaker had actually tried to raise. So do you have an association of registrars in Uganda? Probably yes, probably not. If not, then there is an opportunity if you're a registrar. for you to start an association so that you can be able to lobby for better prices. Again, registries need to be organized. You need a CEO to run the registry who is competent. You need a CTO or a chief technical officer. You need a team, a technical team to make sure that the infrastructure is managed in a secure, stable, and reliable manner. You need finance experts to make sure that the registry is sustainable. You need a legal team to handle data protection issues, to handle disputes. You have a marketing and sales team to go out on the ground and make sure that there are numbers. It's a numbers game so that the registry is sustainable. You need a governance structure that is made up of all the key stakeholders that are affected or impacted by .ug, for example, and you need journalists or people who will actually inform and educate the public about the benefits of the registry and how they can leverage it for their own social and economic empowerment. You can also choose to outsource the registry services. We have entities, like now we have an entity in Uganda that is running the registry. So you can have a whole registry backend provider. I have talked about COCA. These are companies that you can also outsource the registries to. You can have authoritative name providers, or you can have some of these services are provided by ISPs or IXPs. Of course, you can also have companies that provide backups, yeah, for your infrastructure. Yeah, so Afrinic normally provides an Anycast cloud service, which ensures that if, for instance, .ug has an Anycast instance with Afrinic, even if the infrastructure goes down in Uganda, you will still access it because there's a copy in Mauritius where Afrinic is. UG can also have an exchange with KE, where in case UG goes down, there's a backup copy of the zone file that is available at KE, which ensures that you are actually able to continue with your infrastructure does not go down. So of course, there are many technical needs when it comes to registries, not limited to redundant servers, firewalls, dark fiber links, physical and electronic security, DNS software, registry software, diagnostic tools, and registry protocols that ensure that the registry connects to registrars and connects to end users. So I'm sure most of you don't need to go physically to the company that operates .ug. You can be able to procure your domains online. And this is because of the EPP protocols. So in many countries, country or top level domain registries are classified as critical infrastructure. That is why probably .ug was a subject before Parliament, and therefore it needs to be protected as such. So allow me to stop there in the interest of time, because many of us are also probably hearing this content for the first time. It's something that it's better to take time to be able to appreciate or to be able to understand. And I believe that this is the first of many opportunities that we will have to be able to engage. But in the interest of time, allow me to stop at that and hand the floor back to Cliff for any Q&A and also for conclusion, because we have actually exhausted our hour. Over to you, Cliff.
Thank you so much, Barrack, for that presentation and for articulating the responses to the questions very well. Maybe right now I would like to extend the floor to anyone else who would like to put an addition or ask a question or seek clarification on something. Now would be a good time. We, because we've already passed the top of the hour, I would suggest we keep this in about 5 minutes, so that we can be able to release our presenter for today. So in case you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question that you want to ask. Are there any questions from the rest of us?
Yes, please.
Yes, Doreen.
Yes, maybe I will go. First of all, maybe I wanted to address Gitton's concern. I also remember when I first found out about the domains, really about the Ugandan domain, the Ugandan CCTLD, actually, and I was wondering why we were not, like the government being the, I was wondering really why the government was not in charge of the CCTLD. And it turns out there's actually like gentleman who is called Charles UCC who had already purchased the domain, which was .ug. And I can imagine it would have been a bit hard for the government to go and register a new CCT, a new top level domain, really. So maybe my other question to Barrack is you said you work at TLD, and I'm wondering, because I saw in your first presentations they are really countable countries that are members of the AFTLD, and I'm wondering what benefits or losses could there be for countries which are not members to that, and also maybe to add on, would a top level domain not belonging to a particular government, or like in our case it belongs to, like, okay, it doesn't belong because I know there is already an MOU for which that individual works together with the government, so they can distribute domains, really. So I'm wondering what challenges do you think are hindering most of the countries to join as members?
Okay. Thank you very much. I will respond maybe with one word and say that Africa is work in progress. You may understand or you may know what many countries, including some in our region, are going through socially and politically, which means that some of these issues that we are talking about may not be a priority. For instance, currently in Kenya, the priority for the government of Kenya is the National Digital Superhighway. We have over 5,000 government services that are online, and the government has decided that it will roll out 100,000 kilometers of fiber and 25,000 hotspots. I believe that some of these are shared agendas across East Africa, but this is based on the realization that there are probably 60% of citizens who do not have meaningful access to the internet. Some of the issues affecting them include access to power, access to affordable devices. So beyond connectivity that we are talking about, you can see that you need power in the rural areas for people to be able to access. You need affordable devices for people to be able to access. Many of the countries in Africa have similar issues. They are new colonies. So you may find that there are matters that are too weighty, such as lack of power, lack of infrastructure, that really make this conversation of the domain name system not to be a priority in many of these countries. But conversely, if you go to Europe, one would wonder, what can you do without a computer? Absolutely nothing. Now we are talking about AI. Yeah, so you can see how the other advanced countries are. So Africa Top Level Domains Organization is an association. It is a coalition of the willing, countries that come together with a shared objective of leveraging the domain name system for their own social and economic development. So it takes a realization, or it takes pioneering people who want to be part of it, to be able to participate. We have recently concluded the CHAN, the African Club Championship. Again, you realize that probably not every country participated. Of course, it's a competitive tournament. But again, there are countries that, for whatever reasons, will choose not to participate in CHAN. Currently, it was hosted in East Africa. We had Kenya, we had Uganda, we had Tanzania, but we also have Somalia, we also have the Democratic Republic of Congo, we also have Burundi, we also have Rwanda as part of the East African community. But you can see that it's few countries that chose to participate or to host the CHAN tournament, for example. So that is just to say that Africa is work in progress. We cannot blame anyone, but we can pull each other collectively so that we are able to advance and move together. And that is why I mentioned that Africa Top Level Domains Organization, or the Africa Domain Name System Forum, or the Uganda DNS Forum, is a community of practice. It is our hope that through the conversations we are having, we will be able to win those who are sitting on the fence over, so that they can also see how to leverage their country code top level domain registries for their own benefit. For instance, .ug presents me an opportunity as a Kenyan, much as I was born in Busia, which is a shared border between Uganda and Kenya. It presents me an opportunity to have an online business in Uganda that is legitimate without physically being in Uganda. For you who is in Uganda, .ke presents you with an opportunity to have an online business in Kenya without necessarily being present in Kenya. But the opportunity is for those who desire or those who want to take it. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So you'll see, for instance, you won't see .ug on the list of members, but I am speaking to you because we are Africans and Africa is our responsibility, or Africa is our business. So we share knowledge with the hope that in future, you can be inspired to make sure that to want to be part of this movement. Some of the countries have been affected by governance issues, by war, and while their names are listed here, you may find that they are not active participants, but it is normal in the evolution of global affairs. Back to you, Cliff.
Thank you so much, Barrack, for that response. Is there anyone else who would like to ask a question before we bring this session to a close? Just so you know. Yes, Bilton.
Sorry, Cliff, and sorry, interest of time, but I do have a top-up question to Dorin's question to Mr. Barrack. First, sorry, time is over Spain, but yeah, like you said, when you mentioned the whole Africa represents 2% on the internet, I'm actually heartbroken. Why the whole Africa? Why should we only have 2% on the internet presence? Don't you think that rolls back to the fact that DNS or CTLD registries, I don't know, different registries in different African countries are having that issue? Because now, let me not talk about Uganda, because we already know what's happening in Uganda. And let me highlight a country like Central African Republic, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, Mali. Now, all these countries have their CTLDs, and I can assure you, all these top CTLDs are free of charge. And then when I come back to Uganda, it's at a higher cost. I don't know why you're doing this, because I can assure it's for about 0.4% of small businesses in Uganda that do have domains, that do own websites. So it is the reason that it's very expensive to own a domain in this country. Even if you are what I would say a multi-million company, owning your own country, to own your identity as a Ugandan would be really expensive for you to manage. It would look like $25 is really little money every year, but if I'm paying for this kind of domain, $25, let's say every year, and then I need to add on other costs that are involved, DDoS protection, whatever is involved in owning a secure domain, because it's not just about, in my experience in DNS and domain industry, it's not about just going online and then purchase a domain. That's done. No, there's more to that. If I want to have my own, to have my own files of my website hosted locally, now I'll need to invest in a lot of money in a public IP, in whatever, to do whatever, all that kind of things involved. But before I think about that, because now that's my perspective, or my own initiative as what, as a businessman. But I'm talking about this other person running a small business. No, whereas in Kenya, like you mentioned, you hardly move with cash because you have been involved. All small business, too much a digital economy, inclusivity in businesses in Kenya, right? Because everywhere you go, everyone is like, M-Pesa, M-Pesa this, M-Pesa that, M-Pesa. No, you hardly use cash, right? Because you do have an environment. Perhaps I don't know whether your people or the nationals in Kenya are sensitized, the digital economy. Whereas here it's really hard. Very many businesses in Kenya, you'll find them on the internet. Even a small business you don't expect to be on the internet will own at least a domain name, a small website outlining their business, whether it's cleaning, whether it's what or not, because it's very, I don't want to say it's very affordable, but here, why isn't it? Why don't AFTLD says, I don't want to say sensitize, but recommend, right? Because it said, I read somewhere that ICANN doesn't do something, but they just recommend for CSTLDs. They don't do something. I don't know what the statement read, but yeah, why don't you recommend these other countries that are selling their CSTLDs? Why don't you recommend? Why don't we have at least a value which is equivalent to these other TLDs, so that locals or businesses can get on the web? That's the question. Maybe with that, the number will increase from 2% to, I don't know, 10 or 15.
Okay, that's a great question. Again, I will just take you back. First of all, the fact that we are having this conversation, under the Uganda, or the auspices of the Uganda DNS Forum, shows that we are on the right path. The DNS Forum concept was mooted in the year 2012. We are in 2025. We have had the DNS Forum in Kenya. We have had the DNS Forum in, actually, we've had the DNS Forum in more than 10 countries in Africa. And many of the countries that have had these conversations locally are at a very different space insofar as management of their country top-level domain registry is actually concerned. The second thing is that we are talking about sovereignty. We can give a recommendation, but it is incumbent on each country to choose the path or the direction that they want to take. Most importantly, even as we talk about countries, we need champions in countries. And I believe that I am speaking to champions who are able to drive this agenda. So it's very difficult, for lack of a better word. From an information perspective, Africa Top-Level Domains Organization works with the Africa Union, works with many continental bodies, Smart Africa, works with the International Telecommunications Union to create this awareness. But each country embraces the conversation based on its priorities and based on how they view the digitization or digitalization agenda. So there's a whole political side to the conversation that we are having. We all know how African countries are managed. Not every country is excited about the internet. Not every country is excited about the domain name system, but it is the leadership that sets the tone. The leadership is a factor of the people or the citizens in that country. In one way or the other, we are responsible for the leadership that we normally get in our respective countries. So it's there are questions that I'm unable to actually provide answers to, but the only thing I can say is that the responsibility is on us to get Africa to where it needs to be. But first, we must have the knowledge, we must have the competence, and we must have the passion for us to be able to achieve this. So that's what I will mention. So there is no right or wrong answer. Some countries may excel, their seasons, they may come down. You talked about Gabon. You talked about the Central African Republic. Gabon and the Central African Republic actually allowed a foreign company to manage their CCTLD under contract and give out names for free. Those names were being used to commit cyber criminal activities online. They were being used for hacking. They were being used for all manner of malfeasance online until Facebook sued that company. You can go online and check. It sued the company until it closed because of the cyber criminal activity that it was doing. We at AFTLD had tried to dissuade that the countries from going that direction. Of course, at the end of the day, for those contracts to be signed, resources were exchanged. Yeah, but it came at a major cost. Yeah, millions of names were registered, but they were all not renewed, or they were all deleted. So there was no benefit in those domains being free. When you pay for a .ug, I'll give you an example of Kenya. KENIC has been supporting the Kenya Internet Governance Forum. So the progress that you have mentioned, that you see in Kenya, is as a result of stakeholders meeting, discussing, agreeing to disagree on many things, but moving the country forward. This has been possible because of the sponsorship and support that we get from the registry, KENIC. So when you buy a .ke, you provide resources that are plowed back or channeled back in developing the internet ecosystem in the country. So ideally, when you buy a .ug, the resources are supposed to be plowed back to supporting the development of the internet ecosystem in Uganda. But that is a conversation that you have to have locally. Yeah. And that's why I believe we have the Uganda DNS Forum, and I believe the operators of the .ug registry are part of it. So it's less of why didn't you do this and more of what can we do together to have a better .ug or to have a better Uganda powered by the .ug registry. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrack. It's been quite a lot of information exchange, and I hope all of us have learned quite a lot from here. And just like Barrack said, this is a starting point of having such conversations. And please join me as we thank Barrack for the presentation and for the well-articulated responses to this session. And I hope now you know why I mentioned Barrack as a wealth of knowledge. And so I would now, at this point, like to bring this meeting to a close. Like I said earlier on, we shall have this meeting uploaded on our YouTube channel for those of us who were not able to attend the session for today. So just 1 minute to 2:40. And again, thank you so much for making time for this meeting. And I was about to say that this meeting is adjourned, but since I'm not a lawyer, I would like to say bye-bye and looking forward to engaging with you during the rest of the hackathon. Thank you so much and have a good day.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.